The Book of the Dead, the Papyrus of Ani, is actually a book of coming forth by day. We call it the Book of the Dead because copies of it are often found inside coffins with ancient mummies. The primary copy is from the Book of Ani, which was discovered by E. A. Wallis Budge in 1888. He purchased it from a shady antiquities dealer in Egypt who had been selling precious antiquities illegally. Well, he ratted them out to the authorities, and while the police were distracted, he stole the Papyrus of Ani. The Papyrus of Ani was written for a scribe as a sort of hitchhiker's guide to the afterlife. It provides Ani with words and declarations to say at appropriate times during his journey through the often bizarre afterlife. When you die, you become like Osiris, Asar, and then you are referred to as an Asar. The book begins with a Dua-Ra prayer praising the sun god Ra, as well as many of the other gods in the pantheon, sort of buttering them up with flattery to take care of you in the afterlife. Just like Osiris's enemies have been squashed, so let my enemies be squashed. Just like offerings are given to Osiris, let offerings be left for me, that kind of thing. And then he declares things that he wishes for himself in the afterlife. The ability to come and go as he pleases, to wander out during the day, rest at night. He also declares that he won't do any labor in the afterlife. He asks that his Ushabti carved servant figures do all that for him. And there's a big long question and answer history lesson on what various gods are and how they came to do this and that on spell 17. He slips in a few statements throughout that no harm shall come to me, and much like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says, don't panic. So he asks for his mouth to be returned to him so that he can open it and speak. Because for the ancient Egyptians, words to be spoken, Jeti Meju, was a very important way of activating magical protection. Invocations, declarations. He asks for his heart to be safe with him in the afterlife. For the ancient Egyptians, the heart was where the soul resided. Spell 30b deals with Inpu, Anubis, and Jehuti, Tehota, weighing his heart on the scales of Ma'at. He requests beer and bread be given to him, like the followers of Heru, Horus. And then there's a lot of spells dealing with creepy bad things in the afterlife, snakes, beetles, crocodiles, repelling them all by declaring that, hey, they won't have any power over me. And then in spells 43 through 46, he declares, hey, my head will not be cut off. I will not die again or rot in the afterlife. Spell 53 is pretty gross. Apparently, having to eat your own feces is a possibility in the Duat, unless, of course, you know this spell to prevent it. Yeah, apparently eating your own poop is one of the worst things that can happen to you in the afterlife. Spell 189 declares you won't have to walk upside down and eat your own poop, which I think we would all agree is something nobody wants to do over and over again forever in the afterlife. So it's a reasonable fear, I suppose. Don't panic. Just declare these words. You won't have to walk upside down and eat your own poop. But overall, it's a very positive piece of literature, because everywhere you go, these beings embrace you. They're not out to harm you. It's a very scary, dark, spooky place where all these creepy things could attack you, but the gods always look after you. Like spell 151, Anubis. Anubis says, I have come that I may spread my protection over Ani. It's just a lot of the same thing over and over again. It's a really mammoth text. It's very dense. You have to keep going over it to glean the meaning and the history in why is this here? What does this relate to? What historical thing made them think that you would need to deal with this in the afterlife? It's amazing. And there's a part about the 42 commandments of Ma'at are declared, which I find really funny that the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy uses 42 as the secret to the universe and everything. He was obviously giving a nod of the hat to the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys. It's kind of an interesting, bizarre book, but it's very good to read it if you want to understand ancient Egypt more and learn the language. Alright, be well.